What's going on, Internet? It's your boy JG here from Auburn Sports, and of course Neil McGreefy, from the Rebel Grove is here as well, and we're getting ready to. We're going to have Major on, our friend Majure Markow from Cathead, and he is going to be discussing Cathead at some point here in a minute. We're working on the satellite uplink right now, as you can see. What up, McCready?
Jay, how are you? I was sending some links out to various and sundry people, making sure that happened. How are you today? You recovered from your show last night? I watched some of your show last night. You were entertaining.
There was a lot of liquor consumed, and I was drinking this barrel-proof Larceny, which is 123 proof, and it tore me a new one.
Was it super hot?
No, but it just tore me up, man. I've been drinking Old Soul for the last couple weeks, and this is a much gentler bourbon. And then I got a hold of that leaded, and it really hit me for a loop. My God. So Pocket Watch is in the chat. He was there last night and saw the whole thing unfold. See, Ryan is in the house. Is Ryan one of your guys? Ryan Self?
I don't know.
Huh. I know Leif has become one of our standard guys.
Yeah, Leif's.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Leif's a good dude.
He is in Owensboro, Kentucky, where I've been before.
Is this episode 97, Jay?
It is, yeah.
I'm using this for the Twitters.
You probably had a decent year in 97 because you probably married Laura in 97, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I got married in 97.
Me too. I mean, I didn't marry Laura, but I got married.
You didn't? I mean, crazier things. You got married, what, about 2 months after I did? You got married in May?
I got married in August.
August, so a few months. My brother got married 3 or 4 weeks to the day after I did.
Wow.
Busy time.
Oh, there's Leif. Leif's actually in the chat now. What up, man?
What's up, Leif?
I almost feel like he's one of us now, even though he's an Ole Miss guy for reals. But I don't know how much of the show Leif saw last night or how late, but I mean, administrative assistant told me to wrap it up, and I still went another 20 or 30 minutes, and I don't have a perfect recollection of what we were talking about at that point.
Yeah, I saw your show fairly early in the show, and you were still okay, but you were headed down that path. The wheels were turning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I was headed down a bad road, and I got there eventually. All right, I'll go ahead and retweet this. Oh yeah. There we go.
So Carson wants to put and has put LED lights in his room. Now, let me say this. I know nothing, and I told him this. I said, I know nothing about the installation of LED lights. I know nothing about it. So I can be, your labor, and I'll help, but I don't know what I'm doing, so you need to be informed. You need to be educated. And he was not. He wanted to put them up high on the kind of where the wall meets the ceiling. That did not go well because wires and such, and we ended up having to take that down. Of course, it peeled a bunch of paint off with it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does Laura know about that?
Oh, yeah. She was up there. It was not a happy time. And then we put it on the baseboards. We're okay. We had to order more. We had to order the connecting things because it said you needed a soldering iron otherwise or whatever. And I'm like, dude, what?
No.
Yeah, I just don't know. Much. I don't know a lot of these things, I mean, if it's super complicated, I'm not particularly interested. I am impressed that both of us are doing our part today to bring sports back. You're wearing your
we did not coordinate that, by the way.
No, you're wearing your Packers throwback jersey. I'm wearing a Marshall Faulk Indianapolis Colts jersey. So we are doing our part here.
I love Marshall Faulk, man.
He was a stud, man.
I don't like the Colts, but
I like the Colts uniforms a lot. That white jersey right here with the white pant and the white helmet. I'm in. It's super clean. I love that look.
I mean, here's the bottom line I feel about the Colts. The Colts are not the Colts, right? Because they disappeared in '83, right? They shuttered overnight.
Yeah.
And they stole the Browns.
So when I was growing up, Jay, in Ruston, the quarterback of the Colts, the Baltimore Colts, was Bert Jones, the former LSU quarterback who's from Ruston. So you would see Bert Jones out and about in the offseason, and it was like so cool. And he's like, there's Bert Jones.
Wow. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he's a little older. The Ruston Rifle played at LSU in the, I guess, early 70s, maybe.
The Ruston Rifle. Get
Yeah,
out of here, man.
yeah. He was the quarterback of the Colts. He was a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Okay, if you say so, man. I don't know.
You've never heard of Bert Jones?
I don't think so.
Really?
He was
I bet a lot of
quarterback
people in your audience have.
Oh, I'm sure they have. But remember now, prior to 1990, I didn't live in SEC country. I mean, I didn't pay any attention to that stuff.
Yeah. Bert Jones was the quarterback at LSU in the early 70s, and then he was the quarterback for the Colts for a long time. He quarterbacked one of the real famous playoff games. They lost to the Oakland Raiders on Christmas Eve of 76. 77 was one of the first games that I remember as a kid.
Wow.
I remember being heartbroken about it. Ken Stabler and Dave Casper and those guys beat them in double overtime. It was devastating.
I have no recollection of that.
Yeah.
I think the first game I can remember would have been a Super Bowl where the Rams played in it. Maybe is that 79 or 80?
Against the Steelers?
Probably, yeah.
Vince Ferragamo was the Rams quarterback.
Yeah, he was tasty.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
He was a good player.
We moved to San Diego. Hell, I guess I got into the Chargers around 79, though. That was Dan Fouts and J.J. Jefferson and Chuck Muncie. Kellen Winslow, the one that's not crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen the Chargers' new uniforms?
Yeah.
Spectacular.
I can't.
The ones that they're bringing out this year?
I'll hate them forever. You can't leave San Diego. I mean, no. I can't do it. Yeah. So I hate them, and I hope bad things. Not injuries, but I just hope that they suck. I hope they turn into the Browns.
Are you a uniform guy? Are you into uniforms?
No, not in the least.
Really?
No, I mean, I have a few, but I don't care. I mean, I wear this Reggie White jersey. I got this in 93. I got this for Christmas in 93, right about the time that Reggie White had slipped over to the Packers. And that was before you could buy this stuff in stores or whatever. I mean, these days there's always a store in the mall that sells jerseys, but that didn't happen in the old days. We had to order it and shit. And this was a prized possession for a number of years.
I like the Packers jerseys. Packers have cool uniforms.
My dad was a big Packers guy back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made me read these books that Vince Lombardi had written about, the sweep and all that kind of crap, which he thought was great. And so we liked the Packers, and they were always terrible. This is like the mid 80s. They were bad. And then Don Mikowski got there, and they got a little bit better, and then they picked up some kid from Mississippi.
Magic.
They got really good. And although Favre was always a very maddening quarterback, right? I think kids are not going to remember how much of a pain in the ass he was because he got picked off all the time. Like he was just gifted with a great arm, and dude had no regard for his body, and he couldn't really discern a good risk from a bad risk. It was just let's go, and I didn't like that about him.
I love how he's been painted now as this media friendly guy. He was not media friendly at all.
Not at all. The only one worse than that was John Thompson. Remember, John Thompson was the biggest dick ever to media when he was the Georgetown coach. You can't get worse. And then he became a freaking commentator. And I'm like, I will never take you seriously as a commentator. Like, you're kind of media now, and get away. Go away. You're a bad person. I feel that way about Gene Chizik now, who's kind of sort of media. He was difficult.
He's in media, but he hates media still, right?
I don't even want to talk to him about it. I never liked Gene Chizik, and I don't like him now. And
you didn't like him when you were covering him?
Never.
Really?
I just think he's a sanctimonious dude. I think he's fake. Super. I mean, like the fakest. But our friend Todd Van Emst, who is now the football photographer at Auburn, he's been at Auburn the whole time.
Yeah.
First of all, I trust Todd's views on things. He believes that Chizik's actually a pretty cool dude. So it makes me wonder if somehow I have missed on Chizik, but I'm not that worried about it. Because he just really, to me, he's like the picture of ingenuine. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things I like about Gus, though. He's the opposite of ingenuine. Like, he's kind of a robot a little bit, but I never feel like he's intentionally misleading me about anything ever.
That's who he is.
He tells the truth. Sometimes he'll say, I don't want to talk about it, and that's cool. I respect that. But he doesn't lie to me. And he's not fake about stuff. He's real about stuff. That's all I ask, man. And, dude, Gus has been way better the last year. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he's been borderline cool the last year or so.
That's why sometimes, and people don't understand this. It's what we do is so different than how a fan views a program, and it's hard for me to like rip on Matt Luke ever. I know it didn't work out, and I know he needed it had to, you know, he should have never been hired. He's guilty of taking a job that he was offered. And it didn't work out, and obviously Ole Miss had to go in a different direction. But man, people rip him up, and I catch myself, and I have to stop myself and say, okay, you got to let it go. I understand why they're doing it. They're fans. They didn't deal with him on a personal basis.
Yeah.
And after dealing with Houston Nutt and then Hugh Freeze, Matt Luke was such a refreshing breath of fresh air that it's hard for me to not, you know, kind of like the guy.
Well, I mean, everything I know about Matt Luke, I like him, but I didn't think he was going to make it.
Yeah, no. Didn't really never had a shot.
No, never really had a shot.
And when he did have a shot, he blew it a couple of times. And so, I mean, you know, there were a couple of games that, you know, he had a chance to win. You got to go win those games, and when you don't, it's a killer.
He could have. I feel like a better coach could have won that Auburn game.
Which one?
The one last year where Auburn.
Oh yeah.
Auburn just didn't put it away, and Ole Miss was just kind of, you know, inch by inch getting back into it. And
yeah, that was not one of the ones that comes to mind. There were a couple.
Sorry.
There were a couple last year. Cal, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Mississippi State. There were a couple others that, you know, you got to win those games. When you got those games, when those games are in hand, you've got to win those games.
You know, I didn't pay as much attention to the Egg Bowl as I should have. So the kid pissed on the ball, right?
Yeah, you talk about a penalty that changed two programs completely. Mississippi State, Jay, they had every intention going into that day to fire Joe Moorhead the next day. This is absolute fact. That game goes weird. Ole Miss scores in the last, you know, whatever it was, 15, 20 seconds or whatnot.
Yeah.
And Elijah Moore catches the touchdown pass, crawls into the end zone, lifts his leg up to do the dog pee thing. Very clearly he had something that he had not decided going into the game. If I score a touchdown, I'm going to pee. And he gets the penalty. The penalty had to be called. It was an absolute no-brainer of a penalty. You can't do that. So it backs up the extra point, 15 yards. And Ole Miss's kicker, who was not automatic from anywhere last season, missed it. And so Ole Miss loses the game by 1 point. Mississippi State, you know, carries the egg around, and they get all emotional and all that stuff. And they decide that they're going to keep Joe Moorhead. Yeah. And then in the interim between their, I guess they go to the Music City Bowl maybe?
Sure.
I don't know. One of those bowls. In the interim, you know, the program kind of falls apart. Willie Gay punches out the quarterback, breaks his eye socket. He can't play in the game.
Yeah.
And then they blow. Who'd they play? Louisville, maybe?
I think I'm paying attention to those guys. Shoot.
I think they played Louisville in one of the bowl games. Maybe it was the Belt Bowl. I don't know. One of the bowl games, they played Louisville and got beat pretty good, if I recall correctly. And they fire him. And now they hire Mike Leach. And Mike Leach is in Key West, Florida, because there's a pandemic, as you might be aware. And and so their program is just kind of sitting there. It's just stalled. And he put out a controversial tweet that, quite frankly, I didn't think it was all that controversial, but
yeah.
Mississippians did, and African Americans Mississippians certainly did. And so he's got to handle that when he gets back, when we all come back. And I don't know how much time he's going to have to handle that, and his team hates him already, and so he's got a mess on his hands. Let's put it that way. And then Ole Miss, in the meantime, I firmly believe Ole Miss intended to give Matt Luke another year. Here's the crazy part: change nothing except that penalty. Okay, let's say that Elijah Moore scores, hands the ball to the official. Luke Logan makes the extra point, and Ole Miss loses in overtime. I think Matt Luke's still the head coach at Ole Miss today.
One penalty.
One penalty. Just totally flipped the momentum. You've been around that before, where a coach is like, it's like 55-45, and then just one thing changes it from 55-45 to about 40-60, and then it's oops.
It's over. Administrative assistant, you may know her as Courtney. She opened a new bottle of honeysuckle vodka when she was on the. She has a call with her girls on Thursday nights. She drank this much herself in about an hour.
Oh, that's good.
That's good work. She's lifetime undefeated drinking liquor against anybody.
She just drink it plain, or she mix it with lemonade?
She mixes it with a Body Armor fruit drink, and she thinks it Cathead with that is.
I saw you say that somewhere.
Yeah, it's not really my thing. You know how I drink Cathead.
You drink it straight.
Absolutely.
I do like a splash of lemonade in the honeysuckle vodka.
Well, maybe you're
ahead.
You're less of a man, I guess.
I know, less of a man. Yep.
Hey, how many shows are you doing today?
Just one today.
Oh, okay.
I taped an Oxford Exxon podcast yesterday that'll run tomorrow morning.
We've got some of our usual all-stars here in the chat today. Leif, who we've talked about already. Avery has popped in as well.
What's up, Avery?
Pocket Watch in the house. He's one of my guys. Canoe Man, one of my guys. So Brooks is also here in the chat, I've noticed. Hopefully we get Webb M, one of the Rebel Grove's all-stars here as well. Georgia Rebel was with us last night. He's a good one.
What's up, Georgia Rebel?
Leif says, of Leach, he seems likable the farther you are away from him. Like, there's, he seems more likable if you're a Hawaii fan than if you're a Mississippi State fan.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. I watched one of those state games. It was on ESPN or something the other day. I don't really watch a lot of state. But their maroon uniforms with the gold logos, those are badass, man. Those are probably
you think so?
I think they're my favorite logos in our favorite combination in all of college football. They're badass.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
No, see, I think they really overdo the gold stuff for that game.
Yeah.
LSU came here one time for a game in Oxford, and they busted out the white on white with the purple helmet. It was spectacular.
Purple. It's maroon, dude.
No, LSU.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It was spectacular. I'm a uniform guy. I mean, that uniform was just heat.
It's funny. You just asked me if I'm a uniform guy, and I'm like, hell no, I'm not. And I start thinking, oh yeah, I like uniforms.
Yeah, I'm big on uniforms. Like Auburn's road uniform, the white on white. I love that.
Yeah, they're sharp. I think Auburn's got a really good logo. I like their 8. They tried to make it fatter. They changed their logo like a year ago.
No, I like their logo.
And everybody said right here,
it's classic. Yeah, it's classic.
They put it back. They fixed it.
It's one of those logos that when you see it, you know what it is. I like that.
Ole Miss powder blues are badass. Dude, Troy State or Troy, they have some really cool uniforms too now.
You talking about baseball now, or what are you talking about?
I'm talking about football. Well, Troy,
you like Ole Miss's powder blue helmet? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think those are kick ass, man. And Matt Luke would always wear powder blue on the sideline.
Yeah, he was big on it,
which I thought was badass. Yeah,
they really embraced it as a school. I keep waiting for them to break out a powder blue jersey.
It's been done, right? I mean, like in the 70s and shit?
I don't think so.
No kidding.
I don't think so. I think they could pull off kind of like that old Houston Oilers look.
Oh, definitely.
But you got to go to a white pant with that powder blue, and I think you got to go to a white helmet.
Oh, let me that's too much for me.
See, I think the old Houston Oilers uniforms, the oil derrick. Remember the oil derrick on the side?
For sure, yeah.
And they wore the powder blue jersey and the white pants and the red and powder blue stripe down the side.
Yeah, that's like Warren Moon.
Yeah, those were badass. Earl Campbell, Dan Pastorini, all those guys. Those were fantastic uniforms.
Warren Moon.
Yeah, Warren Moon.
Ernest Givens, who used to, when he would score the touchdown, he'd go.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I remember Billy White Shoes Johnson when I was a kid because he would spike the ball and do the little dance, and we would practice that in the yard.
in old Ruston, huh?
In Ruston, yeah. Hell yeah.
Did you know we haven't started the show yet?
No, I'm aware. I was just looking at the clock.
So you've got the reader for ACS, and then I guess Majure's going to kind of be our Cathead reader today.
Yeah. So you want me to give Majure a 5-minute warning here?
Well, did you want to start the show and then add Majure?
Yeah, we'll start the show and then we'll add Majure, don't you think?
Yeah, I want to give a warning to our friends that are watching on the YouTube live right now that we're going to add Majure after we start the show, and there's going to be probably a 2-minute It's going to take me a few minutes to get Major added, and then we'll get going with him. When you're listening to the podcast, you won't notice any of that because I'll edit all that out. But when you guys are going to be watching it live, so you'll see it. It'll be a little bit of a hiccup there. And then Major's going to be with us for a little while, and then he's going to go. We're going to continue the show. So you see what I'm saying? We're going to stop and start a couple times. So be prepared for that. We love Major.
Yeah, it's Majure Markow of Cathead and Cathead Vodka. They
right.
Once the title sponsor of the show, today we're announcing that they're back with the show. One of our advertisers, we're excited to be back with Cathead and have them back with us.
We love Cathead.
And we're also super excited about our continued relationship with ACS.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, if you're looking for those kinds of systems, that's your guy.
I say this not to be braggadocious, but yeah, kind of to be braggadocious. Our download numbers are really, really good. If you want to join the greatest pod in the South family, now's a pretty good time. Right? Really good.
Yeah. When you first, we talked about it a couple years before we actually did the first GPITS. And then it kind of, we kind of came together because Cathead was interested. And it's just gotten a little bigger than I thought it would, honestly. I love riffing with you and stuff. And then we added Gabe a little bit. And
yeah,
it's fun to do, but I didn't think it would catch on.
Gabe's got his own background and stuff. Gabe's golfing today, by the way, in case you're wondering where Gabe is. Gabe said he was going to the golf course today, and we're like, okay, it's cool. No big deal.
Oh, IU Taxman is in the chat, and he reminded me of a great story that Jake Crane, he was a former intern with us 15 years ago, is now a college coach. He talked about a golden handshake, the mythical golden handshake that happens up in, I believe, Montana. If apparently there's a sect of folks who are kind of like Mennonites, where they live kind of a sparse existence, except for the fact that they're okay with vehicles for whatever reason. I don't know. They're a little different with the machinery.
Okay.
But they want to kind of keep it within the family, but they're also bad about incest. They don't want to get into incest, so they will sometimes recruit people who are not in the sect to come and impregnate their woman to kind of break up the monotony, so to speak. And when this happens to you, you get what he termed a golden handshake, which is that they basically offer you $80,000 to impregnate the girl and bounce, And Jake was just really, really hoping that when he was up there working that he would get the golden handshake, because he said he'd be willing to do it for a lot less than 80, but he didn't want to say it at the time. Yeah. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. He's a pretty handsome man, if you want to know my opinion.
So I've been listening to this podcast on American Scandal, the new one that just came out. It's about David Koresh and the Branch Davidians.
Yeah, I just saw it show on Netflix.
That dude was, I know this is crazy.
Hot take.
That dude was just insane. And when you find out about his childhood and kind of how it all happened, and then, yeah.
In the Netflix show, I didn't feel like he was portrayed as like truly insane or anything. He just seemed kind of off, Yeah,
he was troubled from the very get-go. Yeah. His mother had him at 14.
Yeah.
And then, his stepfather beat him, and then another stepfather beat him. And then he was sexually abused, and
yeah.
There was just this list of stuff that was like, and then, he falls in love with this girl and she says no.
Oh, that wasn't discussed.
And then he starts talking to God.
The Netflix show, I feel like you have better information than I do, because I just watched some made for TV show, and you actually are listening to more hardcore journalism. Do you feel like the government overstepped pretty badly to start, getting seriously intervening there?
Yeah, I'm getting to that point in the podcast where we're going to start talking about the actual attack and some of the stuff. We're still on a lot of the background of kind of how that thing came to be, and he started really believing he was the Messiah.
Yeah.
There was,
But if they're just, it seemed like the charges that they were trying to lobby against him, first of all, that they were illegally affecting guns, like adjusting guns to make them illegal. That seemed kind of bullshit. And then were they abusing kids? Seems kind of bullshit.
I don't know, Jay. He's bringing 13-year-old girls into his place. 13-year-old girls are not. That's rape.
Yeah, in Alabama it is. First of all, I'm not into 13-year-olds, but they were kind of suggesting in the show that the laws in Texas were more forgiving than you would expect.
I mean, it's 13-year-old girls. I mean, you just.
No, I know, but I think in Texas at the time, as long as you had the parents' permission, you could go that low. I think I'm not an expert on this.
Okay, yeah,
but they were trying to justify it that way. I'm not down with that. I mean,
that's illegal in Alabama. Just to be clear, that's illegal in Alabama at this point. Is that what you're saying?
A 13-year-old? I mean, I would hope so. But
just kidding, man. I'm just playing. Yeah, obviously. Come on. Got to be 14.
BWL asks, why were they stockpiling guns? That's a good question. I mean,
because he believed he started getting these. I mean, I genuinely believe Guy thought God was talking to him, and he thought God was telling him, "Hey, the government's coming to get you. These are the end of days. I'm telling you, you're going to have to walk through a hail of gunfire for me."
Mm-hmm.
And I think he genuinely thought. I just think he was so deranged by then. He genuinely thought that he was preparing for this Armageddon type of an event.
Well, he certainly had a nice cachet of guns, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, to say the least.
He outgunned the ATF there initially.
Yeah, it
ran out.
It was very bloody.
It's like that Hollywood bank robbery that went down in the 90s. Those people were so armed up that LAPD couldn't repel the gunfire. The West Hollywood bank heist. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. You're not talking about Patty Hearst, are you?
Oh, no. I'm talking. This is in the 90s, dude. It was two guys that rolled up to a bank in West Hollywood, and I mean, they had a freaking armored car, and they had every weapon you could imagine, including armor-piercing bullets. And I mean, they took that place, and they were on the way, bro. And the cops were trying to stop them. They were killing the cops.
Oh wow, no, I don't.
Oh, it was vicious, man. You need to check that out on the YouTubes because they eventually got him, but I mean, it took a while. Because the LAPD just got outgunned.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. That was bad. You can't do that. All right, so we'll do the ACS thing. Do you want to talk about a couple things and then we go to Major, or you want to just
we'll set the stage for the show. We'll talk about some of the things we're going to talk about, and then we'll go to Major, and we'll do that, and then when we finish with Major, we'll finish the show.
I gotta figure out what Major's handle is here, like on the.
You want me to ask him real quick?
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea.
What's your Skype handle?
I don't see a Majure Markow on here on the database. Hey, I just got a text from Neil. Oh, wait, you just sent it.
Yeah, send it in the group thing.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the guy from The Hangover. I was like, hey, you're calling Doug's phone. They're like, that's his phone, dipshit. Oh, yeah, I knew that. It says it's supposed to be Majure Markow. Okay. I don't see it.
He's got a phone number associated with it.
Here it is. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
I think I did. I'm going to say hi to him. Do you have him as a contact or anything?
I'm almost afraid to do that right now on Skype.
Why? You think the government's watching?
No, I'm afraid to minimize my screen and stuff.
Word.
No, I'm not particularly worried about the government. If they're coming after me, but we're way down the checklist of stuff that we should be worried about. It'd be hard to have a more boring existence than mine at this point.
Yeah. I'm not doing a whole lot myself except drinking absurd amounts of liquor on podcasts or video shows, I should say.
My brother called me yesterday. He said he was genuinely concerned that he's become an alcoholic during the pandemic. He says that's all he does, just drink.
Just real quickly, a few things we can talk about. We didn't get into, for people that aren't familiar with the Rebel Grove stuff, your kind of beef with Ole Miss.
We did that last week.
No, I mentioned it to you. Oh, okay. Okay. I was hoping to get a little deeper into it. That's fine. The CNN.
We can.
No, that's cool. CNN had a long piece this morning. I know CNN, a lot of people are not into that, but whatever. Had a long story this morning about it is within the realm of possibility that we will not ever get a vaccine to this particular virus. And if that happens, what's up?
All right. I got lots of thoughts on that.
That scares me a little bit.
Why?
That we would never get a vaccine? That means that we're going to be doing this social distancing shit for a while.
No, we're not. We don't have a vaccine for HIV. We don't have a vaccine for H1N1.
Yeah, well, I don't have HIV, so that's great.
Right. Have you gotten it?
No, but I haven't even. I've not been in a situation where that could happen.
Have you gotten MERS or SIRS?
No, but I don't live over there. It hasn't spread to North America.
Well, it could.
Well, yeah. I may end up hooking up with Jenna Fisher. I mean, it could happen. And if so, I'll wear a body camera and let you see it.
I would like that.
I'll probably edit some of that out just so you don't feel bad about whatever you've got. University's planning to go. University's planning.
I have MERS and SIRS, but
I'm talking about
have HIV.
No, I'm talking about equipment, bro. You probably weren't blessed with what I was blessed with. University's planning to go in person this fall. Auburn is non-committal, but Alabama and South Alabama are, at least as committed as they can be.
Kids are going back to school, man.
Has Ole Miss said one way or another?
Not yet, but they're going back.
Things I've learned during the quarantine about relationships. My relationship with my wife is, it's good, but it's really good. We hang out all day, every day, and we get along great, so that's great. But unfortunately, I've learned that I don't get along with my daughter as well as I thought I did.
Yeah, I don't. I told Laura today I'm not convinced the kids like me.
Yeah. I feel like your girls are sweeter than mine, to their credit. Mine's not very nice. Matt, we had to change masks here in the Tate household because Courtney got us some N95s, which are like the real ones, Yeah. And dude, I freaked out. I couldn't take it. I don't know what happened. I just got really panicky. I think it's just I felt suffocated almost, and I had to take it off. And so we're wearing surgical masks now. I've kind of found that you can kind of have a preference on the mask situation. They're not all the same. I know they don't look the same, but to me, they have a very different effect. The N95, I'm not going to wear that ever again. And it reminds me that I don't ever want to be Darth Vader. Malzahn had an interesting take on Monday. We had a Zoom call with him, and he was like, we've been trying to keep up with these kids as best we can, but his kids, I think about a third of the kids at Auburn have access to a gym or anything resembling a gym. So that means 2/3 don't. They're like chilling at the house.
Yep.
And they're checking in with the strength and conditioning guy at Auburn and stuff, but Gus is like, I hope they're in shape, man, because if we get back going, whenever that happens, if they're not in shape, we're in trouble. And so it's funny to hear a college coach who's actually worrying about this now, where it's not been a worry for 30 or 40 years,
Yeah, but the teams he's going to play are also have kids that are not going to be in shape.
I know.
You can't, if you've been in a college. We'll do this in the show because I actually talked about this a little bit yesterday.
Word. Pocket Watch says the N95 masks actually affect your blood somehow because they affect your breathing so much. Interesting. I didn't really think about it that way. Do you just use the surgical masks when you go?
Yeah, I have a cloth mask kind of a thing. It's got a filter thing on it.
Damn. I snuck out to the soccer field yesterday.
I look good with the mask on.
Yeah, I saw you. You didn't look.
I got a mask, helmet. Not a helmet. I need to get a helmet. I need a mask and a cap and sunglasses and ear pods. Pretty much cover my entire face. I look good like that.
I saw a picture. I didn't think that, but it's cool.
You didn't think I looked good?
Not particularly, no.
Oh, damn.
Snuck out to the soccer field yesterday.
You didn't want to sleep with me or anything at that point, right?
No, not at that point.
Yeah.
No. Laura's, that's a different deal there. It was nice of you to bring that up. I went to the soccer field yesterday against the rules. I felt like I was breaking the law. It felt great. And I want to talk about The Last Dance a little bit. I know you've been watching it. I've been watching the heck out of that. Some of the stuff that went down last weekend was some of the realest shit you'll ever see on TV. When Jordan was talking about Isaiah.
Yep.
That was as real as it gets, man. And
isn't that crazy? All these years later, it's still there. It was great.
Hated Isaiah then, and I knew when he was talking on that, I was like, this guy's full of shit right now. And he was doing his... Well, the Celtics did that to us, and I'm like, kiss my ass. That's just not the way it was done in our day. And I'm like, stop.
No, stop. It was so classless that day, and it's still classless to this day.
He's so fake and fraudulent, man. And Isaiah he's pissed because he's a Chicago boy, and everyone in Chicago loves Jordan and not him.
Yep.
And he's like, y'all are my people. And the people in Chicago are like, no, you're Detroit.
No, because the year before when they beat the Bulls stayed and congratulated them. And the next year, when the Bulls finally climbed the mountain, they didn't do it. They were too classless. You don't live that down, man. You don't live that down.
Do you think that's part of why Isaiah didn't get to be on the Dream Team?
I think it played a role.
Yeah, I do too.
That and look, there are only 11 spots because the USA Basketball made that determination to take the top college player and put him on the team. And so either Christian Laettner or Shaquille O'Neal was going to make that team as a college player. So you had 11 spots. And look at the point guards they took. Magic Johnson, John Stockton. Look at the backcourt they had. Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, of course. They didn't need Isaiah Thomas on that team.
I would argue that no team needs Isaiah Thomas on their team. I just can't stand that guy. Super overrated. Possibly the worst general manager in the history of the general managers, although Jordan was bad too. Not a good coach. He's just bad at everything. I just can't stand him. And he's fake. He's so fake, dude. That's just the way things were done in our day. Shut up. That's not true. Jordan the year before shook your hand.
That's my point.
How's it? I know we're on the same team here, but I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, no, it was. Come on.
Ruxy Poo drops a super chat and says, "Is that a new Jordan Love jersey?" What are you talking about, bro?
Jordan Love.
It's Reggie White, my man. It's probably before your time, though, Rux.
Yeah, probably so.
It's all good.
All right, you want to do a show?
Canoe Man says Isaiah is making it sound like it was Jordan keeping him off the Dream Team. However, literally none of the members wanted him.
Yeah, and he wasn't. Look, man, Magic Johnson and John Stockton, they had it under control. You didn't need another guard.
I felt like there were two college players on that team, but
just one. Just Laettner.
One. And it had to be freaking Laettner, really. Like, God, I hate that guy.
He was just coming off one of the most storied college careers ever. In hindsight, they probably should have taken Grant Hill. He would have made more sense at that point.
Yeah, or Shaquille O'Neal's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think the deal with Shaq was that you already had Ewing in his prime. You had David Robinson in his prime.
Yeah, Ewing's overrated too. But no, not David Robinson. I love the Admiral, dude. I don't even think he's a very nice person, but he's a badass basketball player.
He was a great basketball player.
And I'm telling you, he was big in the Tate family because my dad was in the Navy for a long time, and David Robinson played at Navy in college. And so when he got to be really good, I think it's about 85 or so, I mean, we were all in when he played in the tournament. Because that's really the only time you could ever see anybody back then. You know, these kids these days, man, there's a million channels on TV. You get to watch any team you want. Back in our day, if you were like trying to watch Navy basketball,
yeah, you had to walk up a hill barefoot in the snow.
There ain't no way you're going to see that on TV in Tulsa, Oklahoma or San Diego. 0.0, bro. Yep. Hell, I could barely get the Oklahoma games on until '89. I lived in Oklahoma. AU Taxman says they should have taken Don McLean from UCLA. He was a hell of a player.
He was a good player.
But anyway, all right, you ready to roll now?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I'm a little anxious about this Majure situation. I don't know how we're going to get this done, but we'll get it done.
We're going to do the best we can.
The worst case scenario is we'll just have him on the line, you know, as if we're doing a phone interview like we've done with Jonathan before.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd love to have him on video. All right, here we go, Neil McCreefy. This is episode number 97 of the Greatest Pod in the South. Here we go.
3, 2. Welcome into another edition of Greatest Pod in the South, presented by Automation and Control Systems, LLC. This is episode number 97. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with us. Before we get started on today's show, JG Tate is with me. I'm Neil McCready. Gabe DeArmond taking the week off. He's on the links someplace, hitting a little golf ball and probably drinking some craft beer of some sort and having a good time. So we hope Gabe's having a nice day. Gabe hopefully will be back with us next week. Before we get started, I want to tell you about ACS. It is owned by Clay McNutt in Baldwin, Mississippi. Established in 2013, ACS is a complete electrical control systems solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. ACS has a full-time, dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL 508A panel shop. ACS can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much more. ACS, a full-service AutoCAD services provider and a full-service fiber optic cabling solution provider. If you're in need of custom HMI and SCADA solutions or large horsepower BFD specialist, ACS has you covered. They can service and install Rockwell Automation, Allen Bradley, Siemens, ABB, Square D, and many other manufacturers. For more information or to get in touch with ACS, go to acsllcms.com. Again, that's acsllcms.com, or call 662-601-4381. I'm coming to you from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. Corey always says he wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove that to you if you'll just make the call. 662-257-1900. Jay, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Had a brain drain last night over at auburnsports.com. We did a live show that went 3 hours plus, and there was a lot of beverage consumed, a lot of spirits went down the gullet.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of pulling myself back together after that situation there. The last 30 minutes of the show, I'm not sure I remember it. But, it's another day, a chance to, drink these delicious beverages. We're going to get into a little bit more about which beverages we'll be drinking today and forevermore. I'll give you a hint. It involves the Cathead Distillery. Our friends from Cathead are going to be making a reappearance. Mr. McGreefy.
Yes, they are. We're excited to have them back with Greatest Pod in the South as one of our sponsors. We were saying this in the rather extensive pre-show that seemed to go on and on and on and
you
on.
Were talking.
I know. We were saying that. Just to brag a little, the numbers are really good. Apparently, you all either like the show or you're bored out of your mind, and therefore you're listening to it. So it's one or the other. And either way, we're thrilled that you're listening. We're glad to have you with us, and it has led in part to the folks at Cathead coming back with us. It's something, in all honesty, we were talking about well before the pandemic, and then the pandemic happened, and the people at Cathead kind of shut down the liquor making operation and started making hand sanitizer because that was something that was and is drastically needed. If you go to the grocery store, everybody makes the jokes about toilet paper and paper towels and stuff. It's hard to find hand sanitizer too. So they're making bunches of it, and it's going to be on shelves near you here really, really soon, I hope.
And you can order it. You can order it on their website.
Yeah.
You can. We've got a $100 order en route. And $100 with a hand sanitizer is a lot, but I think we're going to be needing it for a while. So.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah, and you get a big old supply. You get
how does Gus say no doubt?
Oh, there's no doubt. We're going to need that for a long time. That's what Christy told me, and I believe her. There's no doubt. That's pretty big. They got a big operation over there, don't they? Yeah, so Cathead changing gears and still kicking ass, which is kind of what they do. That's what they do best. And so we're going to get Majure Markow, who has been with Cathead the whole way. We want to get him on the show to talk about kind of what they've been up to, how they made that transition, and just pretty much maybe the secret to why they kick so much ass. You think he would be willing to tell us that secret, or is that just, company information?
I think he might tell us a little bit. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get him on. Hang with us here. There might be a little technical glitch or so. If you're listening to this, you'll never know the difference. You'll never know what happened. If you're watching with us, if you're one of our viewers on the YouTubes, you might see a little issue here. Just be patient. What else are you going to do at 3:16 on a Sunday afternoon?
All right, here we go. I'm gonna do this. Here we go. Take that down.
Jay.
What up, man?
What up?
Where you at?
I'm at the distillery.
Oh, yeah, I know where you are. I've been there. I've been there in that room.
I'm in my little office here.
I got to get you added to the show here. We're working
All
on it.
right.
We're working on it though.
Oh.
I gotta remember how to do this.
You been all right?
Hell yeah. Neil's here too.
What's up, Neil?
Can you hear him, Neil? Okay, I've messed this up, Major. Because I think somehow I did this wrong. Dadgummit. Let me. I'll have to hit you right back. All right.
All right.
That's my fault. See, this is why we do it. This is why Neil was giving you the. McGreefy, you there, bro?
I'm here, Jay. How are you?
I got him on, but I did it wrong.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do it right this time.
Okay.
I feel like an absolute idiot. I just don't remember how to do this stuff, man. Major. Now he's not showing up. God dang it. Told people this before, man. Like getting all the video and stuff together for the show is just right at the very limit of my ability to understand what's going on, like how to get it all done.
Oh, it's one of those things I'm still trying to kind of figure out how to do a lot of the stuff. You're so far ahead of me.
And I just had him on though, Neil. That's the thing. I just had him. He was here and I was talking to him. But I didn't add him to the call. I made a separate call, and that's stupid. So now I'm trying to add him to the call.
Oh, so you're trying to add him.
And I can't find him. It's just.
Do you still have his username?
No, it was some weird name. It was like a super long. It wasn't like, M. Markow or anything. It was like.
Oh, I thought it was his first name with the space and then his second name.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I'll ask again. What's your username?
It's a scintillating video, I know.
I know this is, people sometimes actually enjoy seeing behind the curtain a little bit.
How can I not get him when I already had him? It's unbelievable. Can't find him. I mean, if I can't find him, I don't know how I'm going to call him.
Yeah, there he is. He says it's got a number. You want the number?
I see it, but I don't know. I need the video. He has video. He looked great. Everything was fine.
Oh, okay.
God, I don't know how to do it, man.
So you'd created a separate call and you had him while you put me on hold.
Yeah, you were on hold, right? And then he
I
popped
was on
up
hold
on my screen, and it was all good, but. And then when I type his name in, it doesn't come up. He doesn't show up at all.
You sure you're spelling correctly?
Yeah, I know how to spell his name. I have his name on the page.
Yeah, just making sure.
But he's just not there, and I can't find any record of me having texted with him, which I just did, or him being on the show, which he just was. I don't know. I got everybody else on here that we've ever talked to: Cole, Gabe, Gentry Estes, Jeffrey Robert Wright Jr. I don't know how to fix this one.
He says he just added you as a friend on Skype.
That's interesting. Because I still don't see him. Oh, here we go. Okay, this might help a little bit here. He has a weird username though. It's not like his normal one. All right, let's try to add him. Hold on, making progress, I think.
If it matters, I believe in you, even though you've taken multiple shots at my manliness today.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff's legit, though. Would you agree?
I don't know. I mean, you made very veiled references to like endowment and things of that nature, and I mean, you don't know whether I'm sensitive about that or not. You don't know whether you have no knowledge of that whatsoever. And so, when you say things like that, I don't know whether
it's hurtful, right?
I don't know whether that I should be heard or, I mean, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
In some ways, it's just kind of It's disheartening a little bit that you would think those kinds of things about me.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm almost there. I'm almost to where I need to be here.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Mm-hmm. I just can't quite get it to go the way I want it to go here.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
I know this is scintillating video here, guys.
He's asking if you can see him on Skype.
Yeah, I can. I just need to get to the page where I can add him to the call, and I've lost it. I don't know how to do it. And I did this before we got Major on the show, of course. My goodness gracious.
Can somebody help you in the chat there?
I doubt it. All right, just taking a second to, get myself back together here. It's just frustrating. There we go. All right.
You good?
I think so.
Hello.
Hey, now.
How about that?
Oh, looky there.
Can you see Neil now, Major?
I got Neil and Jay.
Word. That's good.
What's up, Major?
What's going on? Jay, quarantine hasn't been great for your hair.
What? No, it hasn't. My girl won't come over and work. Do my thing. She says it's against the rules. I mean, maybe it is. Could be.
We had a black market barber somewhere.
And it's still probably not my go-to, but that Bristow gin has a floral kind of, I don't know, Jay's going to make fun of me, Major, so prepare yourself. It kind of has this floral note to it, and it was 2 shots of the Bristow gin, and then I put in 1 shot of the sweet vermouth, and then 1 shot of the Campari over ice in a mixing tin, shook it, strained it into I think I did it into a rocks glass. It probably would have been better in a martini glass or something like that, but it was excellent. Kind of boozy, but it was excellent. I know Jay would never go to all that trouble, but for those of you out there who do, really, really good. Really good.
Well, Neil, it sounds like what you're describing is a Negroni.
I think it was basically a Negroni.
Yeah, I mean, gins, or a Negroni's gin, vermouth, and Campari. And Jay, to get on Neil's side on this, that's all alcohol. Nothing in that is non-alcoholic. So it's basically drinking it straight, but just putting some more ingredients in there. So that might fit into your wheelhouse.
Well,
and if you don't like gin, you can replace it with vodka. The gin gives it a floral note. If you're one of those people, and there are people out there that just don't like gin, any gin, it can be a really good gin, whatever, they just don't like it, or it's in their mind that they don't like it, you can use vodka. But I used that Bristow gin, and man, it was good.
I mean, I'm just saying, dude, Cathead vodka for me, the way that I drink it is it stays in the freezer and then I open it and I just chug it. I mean, or I put it in a glass and just shoot it. It's delicious. It just stands on its own. I mean, I've been saying this for years. I feel like in the beginning, Neil was kind of casting aspersions toward me for drinking it that way, but that's the way I enjoy it, and I think it's great that way. Old Soul, obviously, I shoot that. It's just delicious. So,
but there's no judgment of that at all. The two things can coexist. You can enjoy it that way and also have a cocktail that's nothing but booze.
Yeah, but I can look at you. I can make judgments about you since you're making judgments about me for drinking a foo-foo drink. But that's fine too. You can enjoy it different ways. It's fine. I just wouldn't do it that way.
But
so Jay, when you go on a trip to Cancun, wherever it may be,
sure.
Secrets Cancun, we'll call it.
Sure. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What do you drink? Just beer, rum, straight from the bottle, or do you drink a margarita or a pina colada, or what?
Well, he can't drink a pina colada because he has to use the pineapple to sit out in front of the room.
It's so funny. Usually I'm just shooting. They have Jim Beam, which I don't like, but it's the only one available, and so I just shoot Jim Beam all day when I need it. My wife will drink some of these foo drinks, like a mango tango or whatever, and then I'll sip on those maybe a little bit. But that's not my preferred drink of choice. I wish I could bring Cathead down there. I tried, but I just didn't feel good about putting that in the suitcase. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, you have the possibility of it breaking, and then second of all, maybe the legality of taking that out of the country. I just didn't want to get involved with that. I'm already on enough no-fly lists.
Up to 2 liters internationally, FYI.
How much is 2 liters?
To most countries.
Is it compared to this bottle? What is that? 1 liter?
That would be 1 3/4 more of that bottle. That's That's a 750. A fifth is what you probably got.
Yeah. So 2 of these would not last me a week. I would need more than that, I think. Yeah,
but it gets you started.
It does get me started or finished. Yeah.
Taking Jim Beam to the head.
Well, hey, last time I went, though, you didn't have Old Soul. Yeah, it would probably change now if I could go. I would probably take Old Soul. Yeah.
So, Major, how was the second run of Old Soul different from the first?
Yeah, I'm interested in this.
A little bit older. I'm having a nip right now. So it was about a year and a half older, and same mash bill. And so our main goal is to continue to walk the age statement up to get it to a blended version of 5-year-old juice when it's all Mississippi juice. And so a little bit older. The product was received very well out in the market, which is nice. When we released it only in Mississippi, we kind of had some expectations, and it exceeded those expectations, and then kind of did the same thing throughout the region. It's been a really nice response. There's, bourbon drinkers are a lot like wine drinkers. There's the guy who comes and grabs the handle of Beam or the handle of whatever it may be. But a lot of bourbon people like to have 4, 5, 6 bottles open on their bar. And so that's our goal, is to be one of those open bottles on the bar as we build this brand up to the point where the Cathead brand is at this point.
So I'm going to go ahead and guess that when you guys were kind of putting together your plan for 2020, that you didn't spend a lot of time on, okay, so when the pandemic hits, here's what we're going to do. I know you and I talked about this on the Oxford Exxon podcast, but for the listeners who didn't hear that, who listen to GPITS and don't necessarily listen to everyday Oxford Exxon podcast, why someone would be that way, I don't know, but it's possible that happens. Take us through a little bit of the decision to get into making the hand sanitizer. How did that come about? How difficult was that? What's that been like?
It has been absolutely bonkers. So about 5.5 weeks ago, the feds, the Tobacco Trade Bureau, and the FDA began to loosen restrictions on distilleries making hand sanitizer in the midst of a total global outage of it, for all kinds of various reasons.
In large part because India stopped making glycerin, right? One of them.
That's a part of it. There was a bunch of different things. We had there was a glut or a gully, not a glut. There was a gully in the supply chain from China. So every plastic bottle that you've ever drank out of was likely manufactured in China. And so there was a gully in that supply chain, and then anybody that was buying it, which was basically every country east of us that had already been hit with the pandemic, was buying everything with cash up front. So there was all these various things that happened. And so to their credit, the FDA and the TTB kind of busted down the red tape on it and allowed us to be able to make sanitizer. Then a couple of weeks later, kind of revised that. And so as soon as they announced that distilleries could manufacture this and gave us a guideline that was based off of the World Health Organization and the FDA, we kind of turned it on. I think it happened on a Thursday. And by that Monday, we had agreements in place with Entergy and Mississippi Department of Transportation and a few other folks that really helped lift this thing off the ground and make it to where it's a full scale operation at this point. It's been a wild ride. Our goal initially was to provide it to healthcare workers, all critical care, first responders, anybody that had to go to work right as when everybody was truly shut down, when people were at home and kind of all was quiet. There was a lot of businesses that had to go to work. And so our main objective was to get it to them. And then the second phase of this whole Comfort and Mercy hand sanitizer business was then all businesses, anybody that's going to work, we need to get them and protect them. And then the phase that we're in now is trying to get it to end consumers. So we've gotten the small package size. I think I heard y'all talking about it a little while ago, but it's a plastic pint. It's 12.6 ounces, which seems like a lot of hand sanitizer, and it is, but there is no hand sanitizer. And so for us to be able to provide that for the community has been fantastic. It's just been a wild 6 weeks, to say the least.
How long are you going to stay in that mode of producing that stuff?
Well, we're in. It's as I mentioned, it's been crazy. So in the middle of all this, we did community stations where we partnered with local municipalities. I know we did one in Oxford. We've done some in several around Mississippi, where they gave out free sanitizer to the citizens of that area. And depending on the demand, we're going to make it as long as we need to. Fortunately, we've got the infrastructure to be able to do that.
I know this time is what it's been like 2 months now. This time has been devastating for the restaurant business, for the bar business. That's, and you guys have a lot of relationships, obviously, in that world with, restaurants and bars and stuff that buy your product, that sell your product. And you also have a lot of friends in the restaurant and bar business that maybe aren't customers of Cathead, but you still cross paths and you know each other from seeing each other. And a lot of those people are hurting. What's kind of the message you have for those people? And then kind of, talking to people like me and Jay and others who are out there, who frequent those places, what's the best way for people like us to help people like them as they try to get back on their feet a little bit here in the next few weeks and months?
Yeah, it's a great question. And first off, a shout out to all hospitality industry professionals these are the folks that their business was just, their legs were cut out from under them right from the get-go. There was no warning. There was no time to prepare. And most restaurants out there don't have the ability to survive 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks without any business at all. And so our thoughts and prayers are with all of those people. The best way to do it is to find local restaurants and support their to-go efforts. There's a lot of people that are working from home that are fortunate to still have jobs, and your expenses are likely down some because you're staying in a lot more. So as much as you can, support those restaurants that are open and doing to-go. Most of these folks have got their tip lines are straight going to various benefits and things like that they're providing their restaurants. I see online of restaurants making T-shirts where all of the proceeds are going to their employees. And so these restaurants are doing everything they can to keep things going for their employees until they can get back open. And so supporting them during this time, and then with the understanding that when they do open back up, it's not going to be at 100% capacity right off the get-go. And so, we kind of got into business in 2010. We're celebrating our 10th year in business, and it was on the heels of the financial crash. And this is the third kind of really big crisis, worldwide crisis or nationwide crisis that I've had in my adult lifehood. The first being 9/11, the second being the 2008 financial crisis, and then this. And each time you see a shift towards people being concerned about where their money's spent. And especially in a national level, is, do we need to be reliant on foreign countries to produce some of the things that we need to be able to produce? And so on a micro scale, and I don't mean that in a political way, but the same holds true for your community, is that you don't need to be reliant on a corporation that's based in, some far off city. You need to worry about the people who are supporting your community, who are paying taxes in your community and supporting those establishments. And that's one part of it. And then we are very, very fortunate to have the restaurant partners that we have, because recently in the last 2 weeks, we've ramped up our operation to run 24 hours a day. And everybody that's not an employee of Cathead comes from a restaurant or a bar here in the Jackson area. So not only has Cathead been able to maintain the 25 jobs that we have while our day-to-day business is being just hammered. We've been able to increase our employment with temporary employment by up to 50 people at a given time, which is kind of bonkers in a situation like this. So supporting your local restaurants is what you got to do. And it's what we've always preached, and it seems more true and more real now than ever.
You were kind enough to give to send Jay and I a list. I'm going to put it together here in the next 24 hours or so. What I did was I sort of sent you a list of our top, I don't know, what was it, 12 markets, something like that. I don't know, and our top markets shift a little bit here and there, but the top 8 to 10 are pretty consistent in some order week after week. And so I sent you that. You sent me a list of some restaurants at those different markets. So I'll get that out on rebelgrove.com. Jay will put it out on auburnsports.com. I'll get it to Gabe at Senate Power Mizzou, and we'll tweet links out and stuff like that. And so if you're out there and you're in Atlanta or you're in Oxford or you're in Birmingham or Mobile or Nashville or Houston, Texas, or Louisville, Kentucky was one of our top ones, is pretty consistently one of our top ones. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. There's a bunch of those kind of markets that are out there all the time. We're going to give you a list of some restaurants and bars in those places that are trying to hang in there and keep swinging, and you can support them by going to their curbside or their carry out or whatever the case may be when they reopen and you can go in there and frequent their establishment, go in there and tell them that you're there because you heard about them through Cathead, you heard about them through Greatest Pot in the South, and support them and tip your waiters and waitresses and bartenders and such. And I mean, it sounds hokey, but it's one of those deals that's really true. I mean, we all sort of are going to get through this together.
Yeah, and I sent y'all that article about just how bad it's been for the restaurant industry, and it is, I don't know of another industry that has just been impacted so directly. And I mean, these guys were shut down overnight. Yep. Nobody else has had to deal with that, and especially given the fact that their business is solely reliant on people coming to them, it's heart-wrenching to know the jobs. And I mean, these are hard workers. These are the people that, frankly, for us, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing for the community with the hand sanitizer business if they were still employed. And that's, obviously selfish on our end. We're happy to be able to help out, but these are some of the hardest working people that we know, and they've stepped up to the call that we've asked them to step up to do, and are just busting their asses to help fight this thing and continue to help put money in their pocket. And it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, some of the stories out there in the restaurant business are heartbreaking. I was reading one, and it was a barbecue place in Nashville in the Gulch area, which is like, one of those new booming parts of Nashville, which means that his rent's gone up and up and up and up and up, and now he can't open. And and the mayor won't let him open, and so the bills keep coming, but he can't sell his barbecue. He can't bring people in. He can't sell beer and bourbon and wine and vodka and whatnot. And he can't sell burgers and wings and all the things that he does that's been part of the community. And it's brutal. I mean, that cannot even imagine how frustrating that must be to watch something that you've built. And there's examples of it here in Oxford, multiple examples, and I'm sure everywhere, that these places have built these really successful businesses that are part of the community and that people love. And all of a sudden, the like you said, their legs are cut out from under them. But I mean, it's like almost their waist is cut out from under them. I mean, they're just slashed in half, and you've got to figure out how to stay going, and that's brutal. It is devastating to read about.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is that, there's after all of these crises, especially the ones that I mentioned in my adult life, Americans have come together on a national level and on a local level to lift everybody up and kind of, pull themselves up from the bootstraps. And so that is, I anticipate this happening as soon as the restrictions begin to get lifted. And as you see certain things happening, there's nothing to suggest that it'll be any different than it's been for the entirety of the country and my small sample size for the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, Major, thanks so much for the time. We look forward to getting down there to Jackson and seeing you at the distillery and Jay stealing some of your products and things of that nature, and then we'll do some form of a show down there.
Absolutely, fired up about that.
Well, thanks for having us back. And again, I can't reiterate enough right now to support your local restaurants that are open and do those things. And then as things open up, be safe, be smart, do the things normal people do, and we'll all push through it. It'll be all good.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Great to talk to you.
See you, Major.
You too.
See you, Jay.
Now, see, I think I just hung up on Neil. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't usually add in the middle of the show like that. See if we can get McCready on. What's
There
up,
you are.
Neil? Word.
What's up?
All right. Major. Absolute beast.
Yep.
And I couldn't get him on the video. My broadcasting software would just crash as soon as I tried to switch it from Gabe, because it's looking for Gabe right now. As soon as I switch it to Major, it just shut down.
Isn't that funny?
And then we
'cause
lost the video stream would go dead, but we picked it
When
back up.
When he went off, all I could see was him for a while.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
All right, so that was good stuff from Majure Markow. Again, they're selling the Comfort and Mercy hand sanitizer. You can get that on their website at catheaddistillery.com. And, of course, they're still selling all of their delicious alcoholic products or spirits in the various liquor stores around. I know they've got the Old Soul and the Cathead Honeysuckle are in ABC stores here in the state of Alabama. And over in Mississippi, they distribute alcohol in different ways over there, but I know it's available certainly in Oxford and all across the Southeast. They've got a very big footprint now. So,
and if you like that Bristow gin, if you like gin, that Bristow gin is really good. They've also got the Cathead Hoodoo Chicory Liqueur, which is a fantastic kind of it's kind of an after dinner drink. It's
yes, I think it's chocolatey.
I was going to compare it to Kahlua. It's a more potent, more chocolatey Kahlua.
Oh, dude, I had not even touched it until we had the live show in Jackson maybe a year or two ago, and that stuff.
I was there, Jay. I'm aware of what happened.
That stuff obliterated me. It must be pretty high proof because I got bombed. Oh my God, I barely got out of there.
Before we get started with the rest of the show, I want to tell you that while we're thanking sponsors, we're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. They've got advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and so much more. They treat investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you. They'll listen to your goals. They'll study your expenses, and they'll put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. Cookie cutter financial planners put you in a box. Not Pinnacle Trust. No, sir. They build a box just for you. It's pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on this podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. We've been telling you for a while that things are going to return to normal in the travel business, and they're starting to, believe it or not. I got a letter from my friend John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis just yesterday, and some of the things that are opening up. He gave me some examples, so I will share them with you now. In Kohler, Wisconsin, I'm having a hard time reading it. Amnesia Club, I don't think it's that. It's a hotel, 4 golf courses. It just opened up on April the 24th there in Kohler, which is the site of the U.S. Open fairly recently. I think it's the site of the Ryder Cup here pretty soon. The Watercolor Inn in Seaside, Florida. The hotel is open, beach access, pool access. The Kishwa Island in South Carolina, all the hotels, the villas, the homes, they open on May the 16th. It's 2 golf courses are open with pools, beaches. So that's a couple weeks away. Speaking of South Carolina, in Hilton Head, the Sea Pines Resort.
Ooh.
It opens also on May the 16th. Golf courses, pools, beaches. And then you can do in the British Virgin Islands right now sailboat rentals with full crew. That opens on June the 2nd, up to 3 couples, total of 14,500, all inclusive, everything included in that deal at the British Virgin Islands with sailboats and drinking and all sorts of things up to 3 couples. So things are starting to open up. The world's going to get back to normal. I mean, you and I joke a lot about this stuff, and we bust each other's balls and stuff. But I'm just telling you, I agree with Major what he said there a minute ago. I think we're going to get back.
Well, hell yeah, we're going to get back. We're America, first of all, and we got resolve, yo.
I'll tell you this, and I'm writing this in 10 Weekend Thoughts, which is coming. It'll be up on rebelgrove.com later in the day. I've talked to a lot of people. I've spent the better part of 2 months terrified. Not of the virus, but of what could happen to sports, what could happen to football, what could happen to football season and all those things. And there was a period of time, if I'm totally honest, I was not particularly optimistic. And
no, you weren't.
And it's because I was talking to people in coaching. I was talking to people in the NBA and Major League Baseball who were not optimistic. They were, quite frankly, privately, they were terrified is what they were, if I'm being totally honest. That has kind of gone away. I am sensing a real optimism. I talked to a Major League Baseball person. What's today, Sunday? I guess we talked Thursday or Friday. I lose track of days a little bit. But he said, you know what, man? I said, what? He goes, I think we're going to get started. And I said, when? And he said, July, early July. I think we're going to get started. He goes, here's the thing. I think we're going to play in our parks. Because we're going to start without fans as of now. And he said, but if you told me that in August and September, so they think they're going to play 80 to 100 games. Players have agreed to play till Thanksgiving. He said, if you told me that late August, September, we've got fans in the stands, I'd buy it.
I'm really glad to hear that.
I said, well, excuse me while I step outside and have a private moment. That's fantastic. I mean, and I think that's true. And we had Keith Carter, the Ole Miss athletics director, on the Oxford Exxon podcast last week, I think on Tuesday, Jay. He's optimistic that they can bring players to campus July the 1st. I saw Anthony Dasher of UGAsports.com, part of the Rivals Network that you and I are a part of. He covers Georgia, obviously. And I know that you and Roddy and Dash have a violent relationship. But in this case, it was very pleasing to read what Dash wrote, which was Georgia is starting to talk about a plan to bring their players to campus around that same time. They can use, I don't know the name of it. It would be the equivalent of the Auburn Hotel and Convention Center, the Ole Miss Inn on the Ole Miss campus. Use that hotel, which is currently not open, as a headquarters. No visitors would be allowed. No media would be allowed. And that sucks for us, but you know what? It's okay. Get them in there. Let them get started. Let them get acclimated. Let them get in shape. And I think as we watch these things happen, NASCAR's getting started. Our friend Jenna Fryer's been breaking NASCAR stories left and right. The PGA Tour is about to get started. This NBA plan of continuing the season, getting it started at Disney World, and perhaps being able to go back to respective arenas is happening. Just in the last 24 hours, for the first time, Jay, I've seen NBA people sort of veiled references to, you know what, if we push this thing back far enough, they've already told their players, hey, look, be prepared for the 2020-21 season not to begin until December. We being the NBA, might run the season from December through July next season. That might become the new calendar, and quite frankly, it makes a lot of sense. They might play their season later because of this. But they're saying if we can kick this thing down the road long enough and give the players time to get back into shape, we can finish the regular season, we can have a playoff of some sort, and just maybe at some point in this, bring fans back in. And that's the key thing, because I know you and I disagree on this. It's as much as we joke around, it's not really it's not even a disagreement. I just think we sort of see it differently. We both, I'm for whatever needs to happen to have a season. So I'm not standing on some political campaign here.
Obviously,
I'm not of the opinion based on talking to people. This isn't a personal opinion. It's an opinion formed from talking to people who are involved. I still don't believe college football is going to get played without fans. I think it gets maybe early, maybe super early. If you told me Auburn's first game got played without fans, I'd buy it. If you told me Auburn's fourth and fifth game got played without fans, I would tell you that they're not playing those games. That's based on talking to people. I think they're going to – these schools want fans in the stands. It just makes sense. Even at a Power 5 program, a big successful Power 5 program like Auburn or Alabama or LSU, Jay, if they can't let fans in the stands, they lose so much of their money that you do start asking questions about why are we doing this?
Well, I mean, you can either get $0 or you can get some dollars. That's the way I look at it. So if they have to play without fans,
the problem is if you don't have fans, a lot of the teams that don't have the big contracts, they go, we're out.
Well,
and so
then they're out. I mean,
yeah, I know. And that could happen, and that could lead to a complete restructuring of college athletics. I mean, it's not inconceivable that on the flip side of this, I don't think this is going to happen because I think everyone's going to play. But if you told me that on the flip side of this, there was a handful of schools that were previously in the Power 5 that on the other side of this are not in the Power 5, I'd buy it.
Wow. That would be very sobering for Purdue.
No, Purdue's in. They're one of the most vocal schools as being in.
And Duke. Sorry for Duke. It's too bad. I hate it for Duke. I really do. You mentioned earlier Kohler, Wisconsin. That is where Whistling Straits is, and that is where the 2020 Ryder Cup provisionally will be played. So, yeah, big deal there.
Whistling Straits, yep.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to play that course.
Me too. It's so majestic. They have sheep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You would be interested in the sheep. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, don't start that.
Yeah.
Hey now. All right, we do have some topics to discuss. I do want to apologize to our friends on the YouTube because our video went dead when I screwed up the Major interview. But we're back now, and I apologize for that. It's 100% me. Major was a beast, as we know. I'm glad you guys had a chance to hear him because the dude he's got his stuff together, and he's a lot of fun for me and Neil to hang out with, first of all, when we're in Jackson, and then just kind of deal with on the phone and stuff. Dude keeps it straight, and he's not he doesn't dance around topics. I like that about him. I like people like that. Other notes I want to make everyone perfectly aware of it. Pinnacle Trust, Stacy and Martin are absolute bosses. Yeah, just want to tell you guys, those guys are badasses. And John Edwards was on the horn again with administrative assistant the other day, working on some more details about our trip that we're going to take. The one we were going to take almost now, we were going to go in like 2 or 3 weeks. We're now shuffling that to next May, and John's getting that all set up for us. So, dude's been incredible, and I mean, we're going to continue to use him for our what I would consider our major trips. I mean, if we're going to Gatlinburg, maybe not, but anything that requires some effort and stuff. Because here's the thing, John knows stuff that regular people don't know. Like, I feel like my wife is pretty good about planning out trips, and John was just like, and she knew like going to Europe, she needed some help. John was the perfect guy. But there's other stuff I think domestically that he can pull out that you don't even know about, like because he's been doing it his whole life. So we're going to be using John for a long time. He's been awesome, just truly awesome. As far as topics, universities, some of them here where I am are planning, or at least they're saying we're going to have classes in the fall. That is our intention. I know South Alabama has said that, which makes me very happy because my daughter's going there in August. University of Alabama has said the same thing as well. Auburn, to this point, is kind of hedging its bets and hasn't gone one way or another. But, Neil, I know you think that, and Ole Miss is in the same boat, but you think those schools are going to come around here in short order and kind of say, yeah, we're going to have classes, right?
It's my educated opinion that both Ole Miss and Mississippi State have already made the decision that they are going to have on-campus classes this fall, and that they just haven't announced it yet, in large part because they're part of what's called the IHL here, the whatever that means, the board that oversees the state institutions has not cleared them to say that publicly, but
they will.
I think Jay, I think the decision has already been made. I mean, I think Ole Miss has said, "Hey, we'll announce something June the 1st or whatnot." But I'm just telling you, Ole Miss and Mississippi State are going to have on-campus instruction in the fall.
Well, that's step one. I mean, toward getting sports back. I mean, on a college level, you got to have the students back first and foremost. So. If there's no on-campus instruction, there is no college football. That deal is not happening. I've seen people talk about, well, maybe we could get nope. That's not happening. So we got step one. is looking good. So now step 2 is getting these kids into a position. You mentioned the Ole Miss Inn, the Hotel University and Conference Center at Auburn. You got to have a centralized place to keep these kids. So we'll do that, and that's step 2, and then.
And the big thing on those lines, right, Jay, is that the coaches have kind of all agreed. Look, if you ask coaches, hey, how long do you need? They're all going to say, I need about 7 years to get the guys ready.
No doubt.
But at some point, there's okay, well, let's all get on the same page. And it appears that they've gotten on the same page. 6 weeks of practice, conditioning practice. They're going to come up with some plans as it pertains to incorporating pads, maybe a couple of weeks before the 6 weeks. So up to 8 weeks. I think coaches can plan on getting 6 to 8 weeks with their teams on campus to get them ready. They're not going to get more than that in all likelihood. Maybe they do. And if they do, awesome. But that's what they're going to get. And so that's a good thing. You can start making plans. If you're Gus Malzahn, Kirby Smart, whoever, you can start making your plans for, okay, how do we maximize those 8 weeks safely? How do we get the guys? And there's going to be all sorts of medical people involved as it pertains to coronavirus. Also, it's a big thing, right, is that guys haven't – you talked about Gus talking about some of his players don't have access to weights and that kind of thing.
Correct.
You've got to make sure that your guys are in shape enough where they're not vulnerable to soft tissue stuff. I taped an interview yesterday, Jay, with Matt Mott, the Ole Miss soccer coach, and he was saying – he thinks his kids, his players, will be in shape. He's like, I know they're out running. He goes, but are they in shape for cutting and stuff? He goes, so when we get them back, we got to be careful about that. We've got to make sure that we get them prepared to play the sport again, because they especially soccer, you know this, soccer is such a year-round sport that these girls that have been playing soccer at the college level, they've pretty much played year-round. And all of a sudden, they haven't played soccer for 4 or 5 months. So you got to make sure that you can get them in the type of shape where their ACLs and Achilles and MCLs and those kind of things aren't in jeopardy. And he was saying, you can get that done, but you need a couple of months. You need a month to work on conditioning so that you can get on in his case, the pitch, and get guys kind of ready, get athletes ready for action. I think Ole Miss was scheduled, their opener in soccer is like August the 20th, I think he said, somewhere in there, give or take a day. And he's like, I need 6 to 8 weeks just to make sure that they're prepared from a safety standpoint, because otherwise you get all the muscle tears and the knee injuries and stuff like that. So it's a completely different set of health issues that you're worried about beyond the coronavirus. But this is where you and I have talked about this a little bit. All of these schools should open. From a coronavirus standpoint, this is not meant to get all political or go all Clay Travis on anybody, but we need to get young people. 2 reasons. 1, they're not dying from it. And 2, there's no evidence that they give it to older people. That was one of the concerns early on, but now there's no evidence of that. We need to get them around each other and let them build herd immunity in that young age. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old people. They need to be intermingling.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm not an epidemiologist, so I'll defer to. I think I'm not saying you are, and I'm not mocking you. I think you read more about it than I do, so I'm just hoping for the best, and that's about as deep as I get into it. I just want my daughter to go to South. I want her to go to college. She's already had everything ripped away from her this senior year of high school, and I just want some semblance of normalcy for her, and I really hope it happens. And of course, I need football because that's how we make money, bro.
Yeah, we've started getting those cards, from seniors, graduates, and stuff. The cards, and those are kind of heartbreaking. I mean, I actually looked at one of the Oxford girls today, and I thought about Maddie, and I did. I saw her stuff on Facebook, and all those kids. I mean, you feel for them. Yeah. College graduates, you feel for them. I mean, it's a big day for them. There's a lot of people, a lot of kids that they're the first person in their family to graduate from college. And it's a big accomplishment, and they don't get to celebrate it. And you see the signs around, like in Oxford. I'm sure they're there in Montgomery and other, recognizing seniors and stuff. And it's kind of heartbreaking stuff. It is what it is, but I'm with you. I mean, I think we've got to. I don't know, the whole, not to get political, but originally the deal was, hey, let's flatten the curve. Let's not overrun the health system, and we did that. It was never, hey, let's eradicate the virus.
Right. Well. Some people it was. I keep thinking, we're going to get a vaccine, And there's a lot of speculation that, first of all, 1 year is really pushing it. I mean, I know we're like, 3 months into it now, but 9 months. That would be way low record time, and probably 18 months is more like a reasonable time. But there's a chance that there is going to be no vaccine, and you just kind of have to roll with it the way we do. Hey, as long as we get football going, I'm happy. Let's just get life back to normal as quickly as possible. And what Major was saying about restaurants, I had never really comprehended how much people relied on restaurants. And I don't mean me eating. I'm talking about them working. I never really put as much thought into that as it was happening all around me, and I didn't realize how big of a driving force the restaurant industry is in keeping people employed.
Sure.
I mean,
of course.
I know there's a lot of restaurants, obviously, but each one of those restaurants has a bunch of people who rely on it all the time. And I don't know. Since I'm just there for one day and out, I don't think about how it's always there, like a particular restaurant. I'm just being short-sighted like I normally am, but it's been amazing that they all kind of collapse at once. And then we, the Tates, and I know a lot of other people are, we're really accentuating takeout and going and getting it and trying to give them way bigger tips than we normally do just to keep our folks going. It's been,
sure, of course.
I just had never thought about it that way. I wonder, Neil, obviously the restrictions are starting to lift a little bit. In Alabama, we do a safer in place order now where you can go out a little bit. And it's going to be going this way in the country as well. What things about the quarantine do you think will stick with us? I mean, I think the concept of working at home, I mean, you and I, it's a little different, but I'm saying for the regular folks out there, they've had to make some accommodations from working at home. I think that's going to have to be a more common thing going forward.
Yeah, I do too. I think you're going to see more companies figure out what is necessary travel and what's not necessary travel.
True.
I think you're going to see more people work from home. I think you're going to see more people encouraged to, hey, and look, will people take advantage of this? Of course.
Of course.
But, hey, if you don't feel well, if you wake up and you don't feel well, if you wake up and you've got a tickle in your throat, if you wake up and you've got, you've got nasal stuff going on that could be above and beyond normal, if you wake up and you've got a cough, you can work from home. We've got Zoom. There's things you can do. Don't come to work. There was always kind of there was always that guy that, man, I never missed a day.
That's
I
right.
always went to work, no matter what. That is no longer going to be a heroic stance. Now that's going to be viewed as stupid.
That's a bad thing now.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. I think you'll see less travel. I think you'll see companies evaluate, hey, was this necessary to do this? I've talked to college coaches. Kermit Davis has made this joke a couple of times, the Ole Miss basketball coach, about, hey, we've done all of our recruiting by Zoom and virtual, and we've saved a lot of money for the companies. And I think he jokes about it, but there might be more of that moving forward. Schools might look at ways to kind of save a buck here and there. I don't know. I think things are going to be different. I think you're going to see some people who are not comfortable going out in public without masks. I think you're going to see a lot of people carrying hand sanitizer everywhere they go, all totally seriously, and just stuff like that. I think that's where it's going next. I think over the course of this summer, though, there's all the antibody testing that's out there now, and there's some evidence now that the heat and the UV rays and all that kill it off. And I think you're going to see numbers go down, and you're going to see a lot of stories about what the fall could bring, or what a second wave or whatever could bring, and people are going to be paranoid about it, at least for a while.
Administrative assistant has rolled in. She has reclaimed the Cathead. We have our friends are coming over for socially distant cocktails at a little bit later in the afternoon. So I guess are you going to get started early? Is that what you're doing? She says it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I've heard that.
Hey, Courtney.
Neil would like to say hello to you.
Hey, Neil.
Courtney.
She thinks you're pretty great, Neil.
I think Courtney's awesome. She's one of my very favorite people.
If you had to pick one between Laura and Neil, but you'd probably pick Laura, right? Yeah, she would too. I would too. So that's okay though. That's okay.
That's all right.
Neil, that doesn't mean anything bad about you. It just means your wife's incredibly awesome. Sure.
Would you leave me some of the alcohol somewhere where I can go sit by myself? That's
we'd give Neil some alcohol and let him sit in the corner, Courtney, with his little cocktails. He likes cocktails.
Yeah.
Also, a couple things from the chat. Corny, who's one of our guys from auburnsports.com, thinks that masks, which right now are kind of almost feel like an unusual thing to do. I think that's going to become more common. I don't
agree.
like wearing a mask at all. I know that's not a hot take, but I'm just dealing with it with the surgical masks. I did mention on the pre-show, but I'm talking about it on the actual show now. Wifey had some N95s that she had left over from when her sister was having surgery and stuff back in the day. Those are those really serious masks that go all the way over your face and really lock it down. I can't wear those, man. They freak me out. I start feeling really, I don't know.
You get claustrophobic about them?
Yes, yeah, I guess that's the word. It triggered a panic attack for me when I was in Walmart about a week or two ago, and I mean, I had to take it off. I had to leave and take it off. And as soon as I took it off, I felt better. So
it's funny.
I wear the surgical masks now.
It's funny. Before I had a mask, when I would go like to Home Depot or someplace, I would kind of almost have a panic attack. And now that I have the mask, and I know that the mask doesn't really protect me, it protects others from me in the event that I'm an asymptomatic carrier. It gives me this level of comfort. I've not had a panic attack since wearing a mask.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's good. Leif, who's no, I mean, less panic attacks, the better, bro.
Yeah, I get it.
Leif, who's a superstar from your side, and he also does a little stuff on mine as well, says that someone named A.J. Jacobs wrote a book a few years ago called Thanks 1,000. And in that book, he took time to investigate all of the folks that were involved in him getting his morning cup of coffee. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier about how just there's so many people out there employed through the food industry. I hadn't thought about that. So good stuff. I may have to look that up. I'm not a big reader, as you guys know, but that sounds interesting to me. I think I might actually enjoy that one. Anyway, so masks, surgical masks for me or nothing. Yeah, how do you feel about that? The quarantine has also taught me some lessons. It has taught me that I would have told you before the quarantine that I get along great with my wife. And now that I spend every day with her, except for these moments when I get to do video chats with my friend Neil and Gabe when he's not golfing, and, of course, the folks on auburnsports.com, I spend like every minute with Courtney, and we get along great still. It's really good.
That's great.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful. It really kind of affirms the way I feel about her, which is that she's a total beast. But
now, what about Maddie?
Yeah, I feel like there's some holes in my relationship with my daughter. She's a spitfire now. So it's been tough on my relationship with my daughter. I think she's really tired of me. She thinks I'm mean, which is weird because I think she's mean. But
I told Laura this afternoon. So I don't think the kids like me anymore.
Is it because you're crawling their ass over stuff, or what? What is it?
No. I think that we spend so much time together now that everybody sees everybody's good side and everybody sees everybody's bad side. You see people's bad moments too, you know? Like the kids have bad moments, you know. Campbell misses her friends. Carson.
Let's play soccer,
Carson's he's so isolated now. You know, he's up in his room all day and he's watching movies and he's bored and so he's kind of irritable and you know, Caroline's done fine. And then, you know, I'm good, but you know, I mean, I have my moments too. I mean, you know, you have your moments. You've had moments where this thing's kind of overwhelmed you a little bit, and I have too, you know. And so, you know, you're supposed to be dad, and you're supposed to be this big, strong, tough, unflappable person. And I've had some moments, you know, when I'm just kind of need a break from it, and quite frankly, you know, in our house on a daily basis. And you can relate to where I'm about to say, I'm used to being here. I'm good with being here. This is fine. I'm used to this. But I'm used to getting up in the morning and everybody else gets the hell out. and I tape a show and then I go get on my Peloton, and I know you can make fun of me and all that, but it's 11:30 and I take a shower and I play with the dogs a little bit, and then I have some lunch and I do some more work, and you know what I mean? I'm used to a routine, and my routine's all screwed up. And so now it's, hey, I have to kind of almost ask permission. Okay, is it okay if I do the Peloton at 1:00? Is it okay if I do the Peloton at 2:00? And then we have this family text that in almost invariably every day it's, hey, can someone stop streaming? I'm on my Zoom class. I'm on my this. And it's just, you know, I don't think we're all sick of each other per se, but like I know Campbell wants to go back to Fayetteville. Like, you can tell Campbell you can be any place on earth right now. Where would you like to be? She would say Fayetteville. Just she wants to be with her friends. She wants to go back to school, all that stuff. And I get it. And so, it's kind of like you and me. We want football to come back because that means normal. And, I don't know. It's just different, and like Carson, all jokes aside, is a big, big, big sports fan. Carson loves sports.
Yeah.
And I think he's smart enough, I know he is, to know that, like this past weekend, Saturday for him would have been the Cubs would have had a game. There would have been NBA playoffs on. The Kentucky Derby, I think, was going to run.
Absolutely.
He would have actually watched NHL playoffs. He likes English Premier League. He would have gotten up on Saturday, and there would have been a game on. Maybe it's Chelsea or Man U or Man City or Tottenham or whatever. There would have been Everton, whatever. There would have been a game on TV, Arsenal. It would have been a game on TV that he would have watched. And that's yes. So he doesn't have. Yeah, Nottingham Forest. He doesn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that, and so it's what do you have? Like he's looking forward to tonight because he can watch the Jordan thing. But when your sports calendar has been reduced to that sort of sucks. What you got? What hat is that? It was a purple hat.
No, Courtney brought me shorts. What are these for? Oh, I'm not wearing a lot under my jersey today. I'm wearing a Reggie White jersey for those of you who are listening to the podcast and aren't on the video. But I was just wearing boxers under that, honestly. Okay, I'll wear those just in case.
It was a mental picture I didn't need. I'm going to be honest with you.
Neil, are you of all people are going to start that with me?
No, I mean, I'm good with you. You can do the damn show naked if you want to.
I beat you in a race.
Just don't tell me.
I beat you in a race.
Hey, did we one time try to break into the Angels Stadium in Anaheim?
Yeah, we did.
I didn't dream that, right?
No, we were chasing. Well, no, what happened was we were going to break in, and then we got chased by a chupacabra that was in the trash can outside the baseball stadium, and then we fled to the vehicle, and I think Courtney and Troy Johnson burned rubber and got us the hell out of there, thank God, without anybody getting hurt.
Yeah.
I was terrified. The chupacabra I was told was fake, and then it was real, and then once I came face to face or face to claw with that thing,
we were out there by the rocks and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. We were in the outfield and trying to sneak in there and get maybe just a little pull off some of that water from the waterfall or something, thinking that it can rejuvenate us. And then out of nowhere, out of the trash can, comes a chupacabra, and we were lucky to get out with our lives, honestly.
Yeah, it was a scary weekend when you think about it. Chupacabra and the killer was out there. And
yeah, we were trying to chase down who killed Nicole and Rod, and we got some leads, but we didn't actually close the deal.
Got a lead the other day on that.
We ended up
just
in Compton.
the other day.
Yeah, I heard that it's somebody named George Trulee. Hey, Twitter world, it's me, George Trulee.
I was told to go to Las Vegas. Step one. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny is as we start to finish up is that the news cycle's so crazy right now. I mean, like, we don't even know if the guy in North Korea is alive or dead. We've stopped caring. The government basically said, yeah, they're UFOs, they're aliens. And we're like, whatever.
They released the Pentagon releases the UFO footage, and everybody's like, oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, OJ right now could hold an announcement where he goes, yeah, I did it. I remember doing it, and I did it. We'd all be like, oh, yeah, figured. Kind of next.
Moving on.
Yeah, next. If you've got news to dump, this is the time to drop it.
Absolutely.
Right now.
I mean, UFOs, the government acknowledging UFOs, it's kind of a big deal, you know?
And it barely registered. I mean, nobody was like, yeah, I kind of figured. Cool.
I think there was a guy, one of the members of Blink-182. It was like a passion project of his that he was going to spend a bunch of the money that he made from Blink-182, and he was going to prove the existence of UFOs. And then all of a sudden, his years of work are like in a Friday news dump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Pentagon was like, hey, just go ahead and let them know. Now's the time. No one cares. Everybody's drunk.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think we've done a hell of a show here, even though I've not done a hell of a show because I couldn't get Majore's video up. But we do want to huge thank you to Cathead for being willing to come back with us. Listen, man, I mean, things happen, and we've loved Cathead. I've been drinking the hell out of Cathead the whole time because I didn't know about him until they got up with the show years ago. And we went over there and hung out with Majure and the guys that run Cathead, and this is just an incredible spot. I when we got back here with Major just now, I mean, we just announced it today. When we were talking about it, I was like, I have to have you wanting a live show over there because it's the most important thing for me. I just want to go there. It just feels like Disneyland to me. Like it's this awesome place where they have live bands, they have a bar, they have their distillery right there. It's all really cool and kind of rustic. It's like got old wood in there. They've got the hanging lights. Oh my God, the place is just like if I was making a place to hang out in, it would be just like that. And I want to go back, and he wants us back, and I'm really fired up, man. I love Cathead. I know I'm kind of
Agreed. And thanks to Clark Ford, also Pinnacle Trust, Regency Travel Incorporated, and of course, Automation and Control Systems LLC has been fantastic to us. And we talked about this before, not to get political. On the other side of this pandemic, they are going to be some kind of busy because a lot of companies like Cathead are, someone's going to have to make hand sanitizer in the U.S. There's going to be manufacturing and type jobs that are going to need that type of equipment getting on the other side of this. And that's not a political statement. That is a statement of absolute fact. And Automation and Control Systems LLC is going to be a big part of that. They're already seeing some of that happening for them, and we appreciate them being a huge part of Absolutely. The GPITS family. So for JG Tate, I'm Neil McCready. That does it for this episode number 97 of Greatest Pod in the South. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, one Gabriel DeArmond will be back with us at that point. Until then, stay safe out there. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I love you.
See you, man. Bye. Okay, there goes Neil McCready. He's off the call. We still have some folks. Unfortunately, so when I tried to add Major's video, it shut down the streaming application, and so our video went dead, but I was able to get it back. But we lost a lot of our crowd, which I don't blame them at all. I mean, it's Sunday afternoon, and the video went dark for like 5 minutes. So that's on me. I got to figure that out. It looks like it's a software glitch of some kind, but yeah. Anyway, really fired up about having Major and Cathead back with us on the show, and they are awesome. And what I like about them is that they started from nothing, man, in a business that is very cutthroat. And they just kind of had this idea of, we're going to make something happen in the state of Mississippi, and it's not being done, and we think we can do it. And I think a lot of people would have told them not to do it because there's just too much competition. But they've soldiered on, and they got a foothold, man, because they do good work. And this Cathead vodka, it's incredible. I drink it straight. I think it's that good. And then the Old Soul, it's kind of growing on me. It's a younger bourbon, but it's a very clever name, Old Soul. And I don't know. I like it more. I like it now. I've already cashed out one bottle, and I'm quarter of the way through this one. So I like what they're doing, and I think it's hard to not cheer for guys like that are just busting their ass. So anyway, fired up about that. Of course, ACS over in Baldwin, Mississippi, Clay McNutt is just beastly. So if you're looking for automated systems, those of you who know about those things, you know what they are, and you know that he can take care of you on that stuff. So, yeah. Appreciate you guys being on the video today. I know Lay's still with us. Pocket Watch, Melee, Corny from Nevada. Not Nevada, as administrative assistant would say. It's Nevada. And Avery, too. Avery made me feel better because she said she wore a real mask in the store, and she got a panic attack, too. It even got to you a little bit, and you're not prone to anxiety. Oh, okay. So we'll wrap it up there. I really will wrap it up. For those of you who are brain drain regulars, you know when I say I'm going to wrap it up, it usually takes like 40 minutes to get off the damn air. I'm still not right after last night. I got absolutely destroyed. Huh? I got absolutely destroyed last night on the show. I just barely remember. Pocket Watch says Nevada is the proper pronunciation. I hope that's what you're saying, because I hope you support that. Avery says she walked outside gasping. I had to leave. I was just like, this isn't going to work. Because you can't just take it off in there. The whole purpose is to have it on in there. So I just beelined it. Are you giving me the wrap it up signal? Okay, guys. Seriously, I'm going to wrap it up there. Appreciate y'all sticking with us through the issue, adding Major, and then just having to do it audio. That's on me. We're going to get I'm supposed to be going to a new computer for the show next week. So hopefully we get that straightened out and make it kick ass like normal. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all. being there for us. Big shout out if you're still here to Ruxpin for throwing a super chat our way. I appreciate that, brother. Right before we went black. That was great. Right before we went dark with our video failing. It happens. And Melee says he thinks the frosted tips are from the bourbon. If so, I wish it would get to the bottom a little bit more. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all, and we will see you next time. Peace.